I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So many cards have been released that I can actually do a second 10 review on today. So the first one up on my list for the second 10 review of today is going to be Rhyme Sculptor. Rhyme Sculptor is a 5-mana 3/3 Death Knight card that simply says that summon 2/1 Rhyme Elementals with Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. For 5 mana, you want to be doing something way better than summoning a 3/3. Even if you get the 2 elementals on this, you're basically summoning a 7/5 for 4 or 5. The elementals don't have charge, they don't have rush, they just stand on the board, dealing 2 damage to a random enemy. While interesting, we've seen how Skelly Mage does the same thing, and it seems to not be like a hurdle. So I'm giving this a 5 mana summon 3. Next up for us is going to be number 2. This is Repulsive Gargantuan. 4 mana Frost Gemmed. I should say Frost Ruined. 3/6 that says enemy heroes can't be healed. Very few heroes heal. Anduin does, and that's the only one that I know that has a heal as a like default power. Nobody's going to use a lifesteal or a heal effect before killing this. For 4 mana, you can play stuff that's better statted than 3/6. And doesn't require you to force yourself to go into Frost. So I'm gonna give this a... Why was this made out of? Huh? Next up for us is number 3. Number 3 for us is Frost Strike. Frost Strike is a 2 Frost Rune Frost card that deals 3 damage to a minion. If that kills it, discover a Frost Rune card. Now, the thing that you always kind of have to remember is that discover cards can't discover themselves. It's going good, King. I'm doing some definite review cards at this point from the cards that just came out. And the other thing about this particular one that you have to remember is that going double Frost, it's going to really limit the number of decks that you can put this in. You can't put this in every single deck. And a lot of times you're just going to use this to go face. I mean, if you can hit something and kill it and then get another Frost card, I mean, that's the upside. I don't know if you'll always be able to get a spell off of this because it says a Frost Rune card. So that means that as far as I'm reading this, and remember, I don't know how these cards actually work in interaction. But the way I'm reading this says that you can find a minion, you can find a weapon, anything that's got the Frost Runes symbol on it, which is this rune here on there. I think you can get off these cards. Oh, I always appreciate you guys coming back to the stream. Right now, my stream schedule is kind of a little off the wall. Because when cards get revealed, I have to put them first. But you can always get my stuff on YouTube if you want to also. Next up for us is number 4. Which for us is going to be the Harbinger of Winter. Harbinger of Winter is a 2 Frost Rune 2/2 that has draw a Frost spell from your deck. So this is another one where you gotta be careful, because once you put a double Frost in your deck, you're really kind of locking down your deck to what it can and can't do. You gotta have Frost spells that you want in your deck. Otherwise, this isn't that good of a card. Because a 2/2 for 2 is just not good stats. Not anymore. So I will give this a great draw out of if you have Frost spells. Next up for us is number 5. Number 5 for us is going to be Rhyme Fang Sword. And Rhyme Fang Sword is a 3 mana, 2 Frost Rune, 2/3 weapon that says after hero attacks, reduce the cost of the spell in your hand by 1. Reducing spells in hand is always interesting. This isn't the worst card to drop on a 3. But you have to remember that around 3 is when you start getting into Swordfish. So you're basically using this to get the spell reduction more than anything else. Or to break one of your other weapons. Like that's the thing, if you've got Frostmourne, you might use this just to break Frostmourne. Again, 2 frost you have to be careful of. I am seeing a lot of frost spells, or a lot of frost runes so far in this. And I hope that some of the other runes get some nice representation as this goes forward. I'm going to give this a decently good attack on a decently good reduction. Next up for us is number 6. Which is Death Chill. Again, another frost spell. They're really leaning heavy into frost on a lot of this. Which is after you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to 2 random enemy minions. The most important thing that you kind of got to know about this is that if you only have one thing on the board, it'll only deal 1 damage. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the link to my YouTube is in my Twitch bio. I don't want you guys to ever feel like you have to be here live. I mean, I appreciate when you guys are here live, but it's always nice to have an audience to talk to. But that's why I put stuff on YouTube. So you guys never have to feel like you have to be here every single day for me. I mean, I like it, trust me. I would love it if I could get you guys here every single day. But I also know that life does what life does. And I don't want to make you into feel like you have to be committed to being here. Next up for us is number 7, which is Mitomenethol. Another weapon and another double frost card here. And this has spend up to 3 corpses, freeze that many minions. So, if you only have 1 corpse in your pile when this casts, it'll freeze 1 minion. If you have 2 corpses, it'll freeze 2 minions. If you have 3 corpses, it will freeze 3 minions. If you have 100 corpses, it will still only freeze 3 minions. It only freezes minions, doesn't freeze face, so it's kind of the equivalent of the 1 spell that you get right now, which is the rank spell that I think can do 3 on 10. So this is the equivalent of having 10 mana in your pile. I mean, 4-2 is basically the paladin weapon that you see all the time. This 4-2 has seen play a million times. Right now, frost seems like it's where it's going. I've seen a lot of frost spells, so being double frost might not be a problem. So I'll give this a Paladin wants his weapon back. Next up for us is number 8. Number 8 for us is going to be the Morrow Manipulator. Our Manipulator is a 6 mana triple frost, so this locks you in the frost. Spend up to 5 corpses to deal 2 damage to a random enemy for each. This is basically the equivalent of Kalkuzad. but you get the second half of Kel'Thuzon, not the first half of Kel'Thuzon. And for locking yourself completely into Frost, you have to have the correct amount of minions. And the problem with a lot of Death Knight cards at this particular point is I'm speculating on what may or may not exist and how many corpses you're going to have, because I can't see how these are going to be useful or useless until we actually get into playing this. Is it going to be common to have 5 corpses on turn 6? If you're playing a full Frost deck, is it going to be very rare? Do you want to waste 5 corpses? Do you want to save your corpses for something else down the road? Because again, unless I am mistaken, if you have 5 corpses, this is going to trigger, period. You don't get to choose whether or not you want to trigger this. You don't get to say, hey, I'd like to spend 2 corpses on this or 3 corpses on this. If you have 5 corpses, those 5 corpses are gone. So, the problem with a lot of these cards is trying to evaluate them. But 6 mana 5/5 that has the possibility of doing 10 damage straight as it comes out is a scary card. So I'm going to give this a locks you up into Frost, but can be a big punch. Number 9 for us is going to be Lady Death Whisper, which is the triple Frost legendary. 4 mana, 4/3. And it says copy all Frost spells in your hand. The problem with this is, if I remember correctly, you need slots open in your hand for them to copy too. So if you play this down and you have like 6 cards in your hand and 5 of them are Frosts, you're not going to get all 5 Frosts back. You're going to get the first 4 Frost spells back. And as interesting as it is, a lot of times you're going to get like 2-3 Frost spells. And the thing is that Warlocks have the card that basically does the same thing, but when you play a shadow spell. And we've seen sort of how nasty that can be. The fact is, if you are getting to the point where you have 3 Frost spells in your hand and you slam this down, and those are 3 good Frost spells, you're getting to play each one of those twice. And that doesn't include the 1 more that you may have in your deck. Or 2 more that you may have in your deck that still are floating around. So I'm going to give this a better when you're low than better when you're high. And the last card for us in this 10 slot is Thurathan, which is a 4 mana, 1 Frost rune, 3/3 undead with Reborn, Battlecry, and Death Rattle. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy. This can go face, this can go to a minion. You can slam this down on 4. You're not committing a lot by being 1 frost. This is going to deal 2 to something when it comes out, 2 when it dies first, and then 2 when it dies the second time around because of how Reborn works. So this is doing 6 little ping. Early game, this is going to help you out. Late game that you're not going to be happy about drawing this. So I'm going to give this a early game happy, late game sad. Alright, those are the other 10 cards that have come out since I've last done a review. As always, thank you so much for watching. And remember, play for fun.